Story 1. I've been selling honey and homemade jams at the Riverside Weekend Market for 3 years now. What started as a hobby turned into a nice side business when my backyard beehives produced way more honey than my family could use. My wife makes incredible jams from the fruit trees on our small farm, and together we've built up a loyal customer base who come looking for us every Saturday and Sunday. Our setup is pretty simple. We have a folding table with a plain white tablecloth, some wicker baskets to display our products, and a small chalkboard sign with our prices. Nothing fancy, but it works. Our customers care more about the quality of our honey and jams than how pretty our display looks. I was assigned table space number 12 this season, right between the organic vegetable stand and the handmade soap booth. It's a good spot with decent foot traffic, and I've been happy there. That all changed when Karen set up her essential oils business at table 13, right next to mine. From day one, she had opinions about everyone else's setup. Her table looked like something from a fancy boutique, with crystals, flowing fabrics, and signs about healing energy everywhere. She sold tiny bottles of oils for prices that made my jaw drop. For the first few weeks, she just made comments. "Karen, your setup is really bringing down the aesthetic of this whole section." Me, "My customers seem happy with it." Karen, "But think about the energy flow. All this plain stuff is blocking the positive vibes." I mostly ignored her. I was there to sell honey and jam, not to argue about energy flows. Things escalated on a particularly busy Saturday in July. The market was packed with summer tourists, and I was having one of my best days ever. I'd sold almost half my inventory by noon and had a steady stream of customers. I stepped away from my table for literally 2 minutes to help an elderly customer carry her purchases to her car. When I came back, Karen was behind my table, moving my products around. Me, "What are you doing?" Karen, "I'm rebranding the energy of this space. Your layout is all wrong." She had moved my honey jars to one corner and was arranging some of her essential oil bottles in the center of my table. Me, "Those are my products on my table. Please don't touch them." Karen, "Look, I've been studying feng shui for years. Trust me, this will help both of us sell more." Me, "I don't want your help. Please move your oils back to your table." Karen, "You're being really negative right now. This kind of resistance to positive change is exactly why your business isn't growing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My business was doing fine, and she was literally taking over my table. Me, "I need you to stop touching my products and go back to your own space." Karen, "I'm trying to help you. Your honey will sell so much better with some crystal energy and aromatherapy support." She had now placed 3 of her oil bottles directly in front of my best-selling wildflower honey. Me, "This is my table space. You need to move your stuff right now." Karen, "Fine, be stuck in your old ways. But when customers walk past because your energy is all blocked, don't blame me." She started to walk away, but left her oils on my table. Me, "Take your bottles with you." Karen, "Those are staying there. They're improving your whole setup." That's when I'd had enough. I walked over to the market management booth, where Lisa, the market coordinator, was handling vendor payments. Me, "I need help with a situation at my table." Lisa, "What's going on?" Me, "The woman at table 13 has moved her products onto my table and won't remove them." Lisa looked concerned and walked back with me to see what was happening. By the time we got there, Karen had moved even more of her oils onto my table. She was now telling a customer that my honey was energetically enhanced by her aromatherapy products. Lisa, "Ma'am, what are you doing?" Karen, "I'm helping improve the energy flow in this section. His display was really bringing down the whole area." Lisa, "This is his assigned table space. You can't put your products on his table." Karen, "But it's helping both of us. Look how much better it looks now." Lisa, "You need to remove your products immediately and return to your own space." Karen, "This is really small-minded thinking. I'm trying to create a holistic shopping experience. Lisa, ma'am, you're violating your vendor agreement. Each vendor gets their assigned space and cannot encroach on others. Karen, I'm not encroaching, I'm collaborating. Lisa, did he agree to this collaboration? Karen, he doesn't understand retail energy. That's why I had to take action. Lisa looked at me. Me, I never agreed to any of this. I asked her multiple times to remove her products from my table. Lisa turned back to Karen. Lisa, you need to pack up your products right now. Your vendor license is suspended for the rest of the season. Karen, you can't do that. I have regular customers. Lisa, you violated another vendor's space after being asked to stop. That's grounds for immediate suspension. Karen, this is discrimination against alternative healing. Lisa, this is enforcement of basic vendor rules that you signed when you got your license. Karen started grabbing her oils off my table, complaining loudly about how nobody understood her vision. Karen, you're all stuck in old thinking. This market will never evolve with people like you running it. After she packed up and left, Lisa apologized to me in front of several customers who had witnessed the whole thing. Lisa, I'm so sorry this happened. We'll be posting a notice to all vendors about respecting assigned spaces, and we'll make sure your regular customers know this wasn't your fault. The best part was that several customers who saw what happened specifically bought extra honey and jam because they felt bad about the situation. One woman bought 6 jars of my wife's strawberry jam just to show support. I never saw Karen at the market again, and my honey sales have been better than ever. Story 2. I've been working with therapy animals for almost 8 years now. After getting my degree in animal psychology, I specialized in equine therapy and eventually started bringing my miniature horses to various venues for educational programs and therapeutic sessions. My favorite pony, Buttercup, is a gentle Shetland who's been specially trained to work with children who have anxiety, autism, and other developmental challenges. 3 times a week, I bring Buttercup to Riverside Zoo for their educational outreach program. We set up in a designated area near the children's section where I teach kids about responsible animal care and let them interact with Buttercup under supervised conditions. The zoo has very clear rules about this program, and signs are posted everywhere stating that these are not pony rides and the animals are working therapy animals. Last Tuesday started like any normal day. I had Buttercup set up in our usual spot with her therapy vest on, which clearly marks her as a working animal. The vest has patches that read, "Therapy animal do not pet without permission," and "Not a ride pony." I also have a large portable sign that explains the program and lists the rules. Around noon, I was working with a young boy who has severe social anxiety. This was his 3rd session, and he was finally comfortable enough to brush Buttercup's mane while I guided him through some breathing exercises. It was going beautifully. These breakthrough moments are why I love my job. That's when I noticed a woman approaching with a boy who looked about 6 years old. Karen, excuse me, how much for a pony ride? Me, I'm sorry, but this isn't a pony ride program. This is therapeutic animal interaction. There are signs explaining the program right there. I gestured to the multiple signs surrounding our area. Karen, but it's a pony. My son wants to ride it. Me, I understand, but Buttercup is a therapy animal. She's specially trained for ground-based interactions only. The zoo has a petting zoo section if your son wants to interact with animals. Karen, look, I paid admission to get in here. My kid should be able to ride the pony. Me, ma'am, the admission doesn't include pony rides because we don't offer pony rides. This is an educational therapy program. The boy I was working with started getting anxious from the raised voices. I could see him tensing up, which was undoing all the progress we'd made. Me, could you please lower your voice? I'm working with another child right now. Karen, don't tell me how to talk to my kid. He's been looking forward to this all week. Her son, meanwhile, was staring at Buttercup with wide eyes. Karen's son, Mommy, I want to ride the pretty pony. Karen, see? He really wants this. Just let him sit on it for like 5 minutes. Me, I can't do that. It's against zoo policy, it's not safe, and it's not what Buttercup is trained for. She's working with this other child right now. Karen, this is ridiculous. It's just a pony. How hard can it be? Before I could stop her, she grabbed her son under the arms and lifted him toward Buttercup's back. I immediately stepped forward. Me, stop. Don't do that. But it was too late. She plopped her son right onto Buttercup's back. Buttercup, who had never had someone mounted on her and was already stressed from the commotion, immediately spooked. She reared up slightly and took several quick steps backward. The boy on her back grabbed her mane and started screaming. My therapy client jumped back and began having what looked like a panic attack. I quickly moved to calm Buttercup while trying to help Karen's son slide off safely. Me, easy girl, easy. It's okay. Thankfully, Karen's son slid off without getting hurt, but he was crying loudly and Buttercup was still agitated, her ears pinned back and her eyes wide. Karen, what is wrong with your pony? It attacked my child. Me, your pony didn't attack anyone. You put your child on a therapy animal without permission despite being told not to. Karen, I want my money back. This is completely unacceptable. Me, you didn't pay me anything. This is a free educational program. Karen, then I want my zoo admission refunded. Your dangerous pony could have seriously hurt my son. By now, zoo security had noticed the commotion and was walking over. Other visitors were staring, and my original therapy client was still visibly upset. Security guard, what's the situation here? Karen immediately launched into a dramatic retelling where I had somehow forced her son onto a vicious pony. Karen, this woman's pony went crazy and nearly threw my child. There should be warnings about dangerous animals. Me, sir, there are multiple signs stating this is not a pony ride program. This woman ignored them and lifted her child onto my therapy pony without permission, despite me telling her not to. Security guard, ma'am, is that accurate? Karen, I don't care what the signs say. If you have ponies, children should be able to ride them. The security guard looked at the clearly posted signs, then at Buttercup's therapy vest, then back at Karen. Security guard, ma'am, I need you to come with me to speak with the manager. Karen, good. I want to file a complaint about this whole operation. While security dealt with Karen, I focused on calming both Buttercup and my therapy client. It took 20 minutes to get the boy settled enough to continue our session, and even then, he was jumpy every time someone walked by. An hour later, the zoo manager came to check on me. Manager, I'm so sorry about what happened. We've banned that woman from the property permanently. Me, what did she say when you talked to her? Manager, she demanded we remove the therapy program because it's false advertising and insisted we refund her admission plus pay for trauma counseling for her son. When I explained that she violated clearly posted rules and endangered both animals and children, she threatened to sue us. Me, I hope this doesn't affect the program. Manager, not at all. We're actually going to add more security around your area and bigger signs. What she did was incredibly dangerous and irresponsible. The manager also mentioned that this wasn't Karen's first incident at the zoo. Apparently, she'd previously tried to feed prohibited items to animals in other exhibits and had argued with staff about various rules. Manager, some people think admission means they own the place and can do whatever they want. We have rules to protect everyone, visitors, staff, and animals. The rest of the day went smoothly, and by the end of our session, my original therapy client was back to his usual calm self. Buttercup also settled down once the chaos was over, though she seemed a bit more alert than usual. That evening, I got a call from the zoo's legal department. Apparently, Karen had followed through on her threat to sue, claiming negligence and emotional distress. The zoo's lawyers weren't worried, especially since the security cameras had captured the entire incident. 2 weeks later, I heard that Karen's lawsuit was dismissed, and she was ordered to pay the zoo's legal fees. The judge apparently wasn't impressed with her argument that ignoring posted safety signs was the zoo's fault. Buttercup and I are still doing our therapy sessions 3 times a week. The zoo added even clearer signage and stationed a volunteer nearby to help explain the program to visitors. Most people are respectful and genuinely interested in learning about therapy animals. Some people, though, just can't accept that rules apply to them too. Story 3. My parents never went to college. Neither did my grandparents, or anyone else in my family for that matter. Growing up in a household where my dad worked double shifts at the factory and my mom cleaned offices at night, the idea of higher education felt like something for other people. Rich people, smart people, not people like us. But my high school counselor saw something in me and helped me navigate the maze of applications and financial aid. 4 years later, I was about to become the first person in my family to graduate from college. My parents had saved up for months to make the trip, taking time off work they couldn't afford to lose, just to watch me walk across that stage. I was majoring in social work because I wanted to help families like mine navigate systems that seemed designed to keep people out. The irony of what happened that day still isn't lost on me. The graduation ceremony was at the big arena on campus. I'd picked up my cap and gown from the bookstore the day before, and my mom had insisted on pressing it so it would look perfect. She'd hung it carefully in my dorm closet like it was made of gold. I got to campus early that morning because my family wanted pictures. My parents, my little sister, my aunt who drove 3 hours to be there, they were all so proud. We spent an hour taking photos around campus, and I could see my dad tearing up, even though he kept pretending he had something in his eye. About 30 minutes before the ceremony started, I was in the staging area with the other graduates. That's when she approached me. This woman in her 50s, wearing what looked like a very expensive dress suit, marched up to me with purpose. She had that entitled energy that I'd learned to recognize from working with difficult clients during my internships. "Karen, excuse me, I need your gown." I looked around, thinking maybe she was talking to someone else. "Me, I'm sorry. What?" "Karen, my daughter forgot her gown at home. She's graduating summa cum laude, and she absolutely cannot miss this ceremony. You need to let her borrow yours." I stared at her, completely confused. "Me, this is my gown. I need it for my own graduation." "Karen, look, I'm sure your family will understand. My daughter has worked incredibly hard for this moment. She's going to medical school in the fall." "Me, that's great for her, but I'm graduating too. My family drove 6 hours to be here." That's when her tone changed completely. "Karen, don't be selfish. Clearly, this degree means more to my daughter than it does to you. She has a real future ahead of her." I felt my face get hot. The implication that my degree didn't matter as much as her daughter's hit exactly where she probably intended it to. "Me, no. Find another solution." "Karen, this is exactly what's wrong with higher education today. People like you engaging in classist gatekeeping, trying to keep deserving students from succeeding." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Here was this woman, clearly wealthy based on her clothes and attitude, accusing me of classist gatekeeping for not giving up my own graduation gown. "Me, ma'am, I earned this degree. I'm wearing my own gown to my own graduation." "Karen, my daughter deserves this more than you do. She's been accepted to Harvard Medical School." Other students were starting to stare. A few moved closer, probably sensing drama. "Karen, fine, if you won't be reasonable about this." She lunged forward and grabbed the gown right off the hanger I was holding. I held on tight, and we ended up in this ridiculous tug of war over my graduation gown. "Me, let go. This is my gown." "Karen, stop being so selfish." That's when campus security showed up. 2 officers approached us as we were literally wrestling over a piece of polyester. Security Officer 1, "Ladies, what's the problem here?" Karen immediately let go and put on this victim act. "Karen, this student is refusing to help my daughter who forgot her gown. She's being completely unreasonable and engaging in discriminatory behavior." Security Officer 2. Miss, is this your gown? Me. Yes, I bought it from the campus bookstore. I have the receipt. I pulled out the receipt from my purse, still shaking from the adrenaline. Security Officer 1. Ma'am, you can't take someone else's property. Karen, this is discrimination. I'm going to report this to the dean. That's when a young woman about my age approached the group. She looked mortified. Daughter, Mom, what are you doing? Karen, sweetheart, I'm trying to get you a gown so you can graduate. Daughter, I told you I already borrowed one from my roommate. I've been texting you for 20 minutes. The security officers looked at each other, then back at Karen. Security Officer 1. Ma'am, you need to come with us. Karen, this is outrageous. My husband is a major donor to this university. Daughter, Mom, please stop. You're embarrassing me. The daughter looked at me with genuine apology in her eyes. Daughter, I'm so sorry. I had no idea she was doing this. Congratulations on your graduation. Me, thank you. Congratulations to you too. As security escorted Karen away, I heard her still ranting about discrimination and gatekeeping. Her daughter followed behind, looking like she wanted to disappear. 20 minutes later, I walked across that stage wearing my own gown that I'd earned through 4 years of working 2 jobs and studying until 3 in the morning. When they called my name, I could hear my family screaming louder than anyone else in that arena. Later, my dad told me he'd never been more proud of anything in his life. Not just my degree, but how I'd stood my ground when someone tried to take what was mine. Story 4. I bought my first house 2 years ago in a neighborhood where most of the properties are older single-family homes on smaller lots. My driveway is narrow but clearly marked, and I need to be able to get in and out for work since I'm a paramedic with unpredictable shifts. Sometimes I get called in for emergencies at odd hours, so having access to my car is literally a matter of life and death situations I might need to respond to. My next-door neighbor seemed nice enough when I moved in. She's a divorced woman in her 40s who has her teenage kids every other weekend. During her weekends with the kids, she likes to throw what she calls family gatherings that usually turn into loud parties with extended family and friends that go until late at night. The problem started about 6 months ago. Her driveway fits 2 cars, but she routinely has 8 or 10 people over during these gatherings. Instead of asking guests to park on the street like normal people do, she started telling them they could block my driveway since I'm just one person and don't need all that space. The first time it happened, I knocked on her door around 10 at night because I'd gotten called in to cover someone's shift. Me, hey, someone's blocking my driveway. Can you ask them to move their car? Karen, oh, that's probably my sister. Can't you just squeeze around it? Me, no, it's completely blocking the entrance. I need to get to work. Karen, fine, I'll ask her to move it. She seemed annoyed, but got her sister to move the SUV. I figured it was just a one-time thing. But it kept happening. Every few weeks, I'd come home or need to leave and find the same black SUV parked across my driveway entrance. Each time, I'd have to go knock on her door and ask her to move it. After the 4th time, I tried to address it more directly. Me, listen, I really need you to tell your guests not to block my driveway. I work irregular hours and sometimes get emergency calls. Karen, it's not that big of a deal. You can always come ask us to move if you need to get out. Me, but what if you're not home? Or what if I need to leave quickly for an emergency? Karen, then you can walk over and knock louder. She clearly didn't understand that this was a problem, so I tried to be more specific. Me, I'm a paramedic. Sometimes I get called in for critical situations where every minute matters. I can't waste time hunting down car owners. Karen, well, maybe you should have thought about that before buying a house next to someone who likes to entertain. That's when I realized she wasn't going to be reasonable about this. Over the next month, the SUV blocked my driveway 6 more times. Twice I had to call in late to work because I couldn't get out. My supervisor wasn't happy about it, and I was getting written warnings for tardiness. I started documenting everything with photos and keeping a log of dates and times. I also looked up the local parking laws and found out that blocking someone's driveway is illegal, even if it's just partially blocked. The final straw came last weekend. I'd worked a double shift and got home around 7 in the morning, completely exhausted. The black SUV was parked across my entire driveway entrance. I could see that my neighbor was having another one of her parties, with cars lined up and down the street. I was too tired to deal with it right then, so I parked on the street and went to bed, figuring I'd address it when I woke up. When I got up around 2 in the afternoon, the SUV was still there. All the other cars were gone, but this one was still blocking my driveway. I went over and knocked on my neighbor's door. No answer. I knocked louder and rang the doorbell. Nothing. Either she wasn't home or she was ignoring me. I waited until 6 that evening, then knocked again. Still no response. That's when I decided I'd had enough. I called the towing company that handles parking violations in our area. Hi, I need to report a vehicle blocking my residential driveway. Dispatcher, how long has it been there? Since yesterday evening, and the owner isn't responding to requests to move it. Dispatcher, we can have someone out there within the hour. It'll cost the car owner around $300 plus daily storage fees. Before the tow truck arrived, I made a sign and placed it on the sub's windshield. Tow in progress. Owner refused to move for 3 days despite multiple requests. Blocking driveway is illegal. I figured if anyone saw the car being towed, they'd understand why. The tow truck driver was this no-nonsense guy who'd clearly done this many times before. Driver. Yeah, we get a lot of driveway blocking calls. Some people think parking laws don't apply to them. He was hooking up the SUV when my neighbor came running out of her house. Karen, what are you doing? That's my car. Driver. Ma'am, this vehicle is illegally parked and blocking this resident's driveway. Karen, you can't just tow my car. I live right here. I asked you to move it multiple times. It's been blocking my driveway for 3 days. Karen, I was busy. You could have waited. Driver. Ma'am, blocking a driveway is a parking violation regardless of how busy you are. Karen, this is ridiculous. How much is this going to cost me? Driver, $300 for the tow, plus $50 per day storage fee. Karen, $50 a day. That's robbery. The driver just shrugged and continued loading the SUV onto his truck. Karen, fine. I'll pay the $350 and get my car back today. Driver, actually, ma'am, I need to let you know that our system shows you have an outstanding balance of $430 from a previous tow. Karen's face went white. Driver, company policy is that we can't release any vehicle to someone with an unpaid balance. You'll need to settle both bills before we can release the SUV. Karen, what previous tow? I've never been towed before. Driver, shows here it was your sedan, towed from a handicapped space at the mall about 2 months ago. I watched Karen's expression change as she remembered. Karen, that was different. I was only parked there for a few minutes. Driver, regardless, the balance is still outstanding. So you're looking at $430 plus $300 for today's tow, plus storage fees that start accumulating today. Karen, you're telling me I have to pay over $700 to get my car back. Driver, plus daily storage fees for however long it takes you to pay. It goes up $50 every day you don't settle the bill. Karen turned to me, furious. Karen, this is all your fault. Why couldn't you just be patient? I was patient. For 6 months. I asked you nicely dozens of times. Karen, I'm going to sue you for harassment. Driver, ma'am, your neighbor didn't do anything illegal. You're the one who parked illegally. After the tow truck left, Karen spent the next hour yelling at me from her yard about how unfair and vindictive I was being. She kept saying she was going to call the police on me for filing a false report. A few days later, I overheard her on the phone with someone, probably a friend or family member. Karen, the storage fees are up to $400 now. I can't afford to pay almost $1,200 to get my car back. Karen, no, I can't borrow your car all week. I need my own car. It took her 8 days to come up with the money. By then, the total bill was over $1,300 between the old fine, the new tow, and storage fees. The best part? She's never blocked my driveway again. In fact, she now parks her own cars as far from my driveway as possible and clearly tells her guests to avoid the area entirely. Sometimes people need expensive lessons to learn basic courtesy. Story 5. I work as a warehouse supervisor at a large distribution center, and I've been doing this job for about 8 years now. It's physical work, lots of walking on concrete floors, climbing ladders, moving equipment around. I'm used to being on my feet for 10-hour shifts, and I've always been pretty careful about safety. 2 months ago, I was doing my morning walkthrough when I noticed one of our newer employees had stacked some boxes incorrectly near the loading dock. The stack was leaning and looked like it might fall, so I climbed up on a stepladder to fix it before someone got hurt. I'd repositioned about half the boxes when the ladder shifted. One of the wheels wasn't locked properly, and it rolled right out from under me. I came down hard on my left ankle, twisting it in a way that made this awful popping sound. The pain was instant and intense. My team wanted to call an ambulance, but I told them I'd drive myself to urgent care. Big mistake. By the time I got to my car, my ankle had swollen up like a balloon, and I could barely put any weight on it. One of my guys insisted on driving me to the hospital instead. The emergency room was moderately busy when I hobbled in around 11 a.m. The triage nurse took my vitals, asked about my pain level, which was about a 7 out of 10, and looked at my ankle. Triage nurse, this is definitely swollen and bruised. We need to get some x-rays to rule out a fracture. I'm going to have you wait in bed 3 until we can get you back to imaging. She helped me get settled in one of those emergency room beds with the curtains around it. They elevated my leg on some pillows and gave me an ice pack. It wasn't comfortable, but the ice was helping with the pain and swelling. I'd been there about 45 minutes when I heard someone in the hallway getting louder and more agitated. Then the curtain to my bed area got yanked open without any warning. Standing there was a woman probably in her early 40s, wearing an expensive-looking business suit and carrying a designer purse. Her hair and makeup were perfect. Karen, excuse me, you need to move. Me, I'm sorry, what? Karen, I said you need to move. I need this bed. Me, ma'am, this bed was assigned to me by the nursing staff. I'm waiting for x-rays. Karen, well, I have chronic back tightness and I need to be seen immediately. I can't wait in those uncomfortable chairs out there. Me, I understand you're uncomfortable, but I have a potentially broken ankle. The nurses put me here for a reason. Karen, back problems are serious medical issues. I could have permanent damage if this isn't treated right away. She said this while standing perfectly straight and gesturing dramatically with her arms. If her back was in such terrible condition, she was hiding it pretty well. Me, ma'am, I think you need to talk to the nursing staff about getting your own bed. I can't just give you mine. Karen, the nursing staff told me all the beds are full and I'd have to wait. But you're obviously not that hurt if you can argue with me about it. Me, I fell off a ladder at work and my ankle might be broken. I'm not moving. Karen, a little twisted ankle. Please, I deal with chronic pain every single day. You have no idea what real suffering is like. Just then, one of the nurses walked by and saw Karen standing in my bed area. Nurse, ma'am, can I help you find something? Karen, yes, this man is taking up a bed that I need. I have severe back pain and I need to lie down immediately. The nurse looked confused and glanced at my chart. Nurse, ma'am, this patient is waiting for x-rays for a possible ankle fracture. He was triaged and assigned to this bed. If you're experiencing back pain, you need to check in at the front desk. Karen, I already checked in. They told me I have to wait, but I can't wait in those chairs. My back can't handle sitting upright for hours. Nurse, I understand your discomfort. but we have to follow triage protocols. Patients are seen based on the severity of their condition and order of arrival. Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm a taxpayer and I deserve proper medical care. Not everyone can just lie around all day like some people. She shot me a nasty look when she said that last part. Nurse, ma'am, if you'd like to speak with someone about the wait time, I can have the charge nurse explain our triage system to you. Karen, I don't want explanations, I want results. Either move him to a chair or get me another bed right now. Nurse, that's not how emergency medicine works. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to return to the waiting area. You can't disrupt other patients like this. Karen, I'm not disrupting anyone. I'm advocating for proper medical care. But instead of leaving, she planted herself right in the middle of the hallway outside my bed area and crossed her arms. Karen, I'm not moving until someone addresses my needs appropriately. The nurse came back with the charge nurse, who tried reasoning with Karen about triage protocols. Turns out Karen's emergency was chronic back tightness that had been going on for months. She just wanted muscle relaxers because her regular doctor couldn't see her for a week. Charge nurse, ma'am, the emergency room is for acute medical emergencies. Chronic conditions that haven't significantly worsened are typically better handled by your primary care physician. Karen, so you're just going to ignore me? Let me suffer. When Karen refused to move from the hallway, security was called. She actually sat down on the floor right there, blocking the path between bed areas. Karen, this is what's wrong with healthcare in America. They don't care about patients. 2 security guards showed up and tried to reason with her, but she wouldn't budge. Security guard, ma'am, you're blocking a fire exit and disrupting other patients. You need to either return to the waiting area or leave the hospital. Karen, you can't make me leave. I'm a patient here. This is discrimination. The guards had to physically escort her out while she screamed about calling lawyers and police. The charge nurse told me Karen was being added to their banned list for 30 days. My X-rays showed a bad sprain, but no fracture. As I was leaving, I overheard security saying Karen had tried to come back through the main entrance demanding to speak to the administrator, and they'd had to escort her off the property again. Some people really think their minor inconveniences should take priority over actual emergencies.